Get everything going out. That's what we do. It's Wednesday. It's time for a show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Weekly Daily Wednesdays. We're doing the pre-show. We were just discussing that we have a decided lack of pirate hats. This cannot stand. I don't think it's right. One should not do a Linux show without a pirate hat. It's just not right. Because
Yes.
There's clearly not enough piracy on Linux.
there isn't, man. This is like something that will instantly cause me to roll my eyes. It's like, oh, Linux are a bunch of pirates. Pirates what? What? Where's this mythical Linux software pirate store at, man? Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, go ahead and try and download a pirated game from somewhere on the internet and then run it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just needs my root password. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, they claimed it was from GOG.
GOG.
Man.
Hello, Linux Skinneroo.
Stop, everyone. It is that time. Okay, let me see.
Hello, Artherin. And Mir PPC.
Window, yeah. We'll give that 10 minutes for the pre-show. We'll stay on the clock. Punch the clock.
We got the taco clock.
LibreOffice, man. Ooh, you filthy pirate, man. I'm telling. I'm going to report. Isn't... Yeah, this is a new thing we should start doing. Reporting open source software to whatever agency. Because you know you've seen those ads. Report software piracy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh,
Like,
man.
I downloaded LibreOffice off the internet.
I know for a fact they're using VLC.
Oh, that's one of the things that when Dave and Nathan used to work for Serco, and now they're a part of HE as well. But they were the ones who created the previous image, previous Windows 7, Windows XP, Windows 10 images. And they all had VLC because it's useful software, and they had GIMP, and they had a bunch of really nice open source tools that are also available on Windows. And then now that we have this unified image that everyone in the country is supposed to be using, which they don't, but guess what? Open source software, not a part of it. So everyone is stuck with Windows Media Player and only being able to play AVIs, and even then only some.
You know, from a productivity standpoint,
Jordan, womp womp.
it's pretty good. I mean, I don't know. Why would you need a media player on your...
There is a marketing team that does video, and they need to be able to play those videos, and there is one of the branches of the data team work a lot in graphical design. So they were very, thankful that GIMP was a solution that was there. And now I think it was one of the teams downstairs that's like, yeah, we just bought we have a contract with this media company, and we spent £5,000 on this publicity thing, and there's a bunch of videos that we can't play on our laptops.
Oh,
What the
jeez.
hell?
Yeah.
Government.
So, yeah. So then we kick it up to our boss, and then she kicks it up to her boss, which is the CTO, and we're still waiting.
Real player.
Anything would be better than Windows Media Player.
Oh, Windows Media Player is horrific. I have all my students use VLC
Yeah.
because half their files don't play on it on Media Player, of course.
Well, definitely 100%. I mean, you got to think VLC is... That's just pretty common knowledge, though, for all operating systems at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I have this video. Play it in VLC. Chances are it's going to play it. And if VLC doesn't play it, Good luck.
Fragmentation used to, on Windows, was definitely a problem because that always made, like, what? What's going on? Because a person would have, like, Windows Media Player, they would have QuickTime Player, they would have Real Player, then they would have, like, playing whatever bizarro, random.
Like Media Player Classic that came with the K Mega Codec pack.
Yeah.
How many viruses? All hail the safety what?
The safety
The
wizards.
safety wizards.
VLC. VLC.
They are safety wizards, man.
The safety wizards from Scale.
VLC is solely responsible for me having any idea that it's the month of December.
Yeah, there's always the little
Yeah,
hat on
it's
the
like,
tray
oh.
icon.
All right. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, got sniped.
Wow, this is a bad time to buy a CPU there, Massivoni. Good time to buy a RAM, but not CPUs.
No. Tell me more about this bad time to buy a CPU, Vigil.
Yeah, don't do what Ven did. Don't go ahead
Yeah.
and buy, enterprise grade workstation level processor.
Yeah.
But yeah, RAM is almost at a reasonably agreeable price.
Yeah, slightly less than astronomical.
Yeah.
Like, that's the Vengeance kit. And this is the one, go look on our little Amazon store thing with our recommendation, whatever. That kit is... It's not flashy, no RGB, but it will run at 3200 on all things Ryzen, all things Threadripper. No futzing with it, nothing. Just put it in, set it at 3200, you're done. And that has went from $80 up to $190
Oh,
less
boy.
than a year ago. Same 16 gig kit.
Yeah, this one at the time was 180 pounds, and when it peaked at like 270. Like 270 for 16 gigs of RAM. What the hell?
It's strange, man. Well, it's not really strange. It's what you can get away with, right?
And Nemo, yeah, I saw the comment. I'm not affected by it. I was bullied a lot about it when I was a kid, but nowadays people see someone's about 6'1", walking in their direction. The last thing that they think to comment on is, "What the hell happened to your hand?"
Midget.
But yeah, no, I have no quarrels with it. And I realize that as far as birth defects go, this is pretty minor. Like, there's people out there that are born just completely atrophied. And they never really learn to walk properly because they can't. It's physically impossible for them. That is a significant thing.
Yeah.
Input. All right, Discord's working. Yay.
Oh, good.
Discord's been being weird lately.
It has been, yes.
Scary movie. It's my strong hand.
That's a good movie. Whatever happened to, what was his name? Chris from The Cabin Boy, right? That actor. He was in a bunch of comedies in like the early and mid 90s.
Oh, Chris Elliott. I think I'll go take a quick break before we start. We're going to be starting soon.
Yes.
What gives you that idea? Run.
Run.
It says run. Fly, you fools.
Why, you fool?
Okay. Then. All right.
Not so much a parody, but deconstruction of horror movies. I liked Cabin in the Woods.
Haven't watched it. One thing I did watch, I watched Good Omens.
Oh yeah, I need to watch that. It's
Yeah,
on
you-
Prime. Yeah.
It's got David Tennant in it,
Yep.
and it's like, all right, maybe. Like, let me try to figure. I think it's on Amazon.
Yep.
And I guess it was Monday. Monday's kind of my day off, and 6 episodes. I chewed through that like during the course of Monday. I didn't do it back to back to back to back. I was like, that's good enough for what it is.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because I've burned through most of the series I was watching, and I thought I cut the sound off of this thing.
Apparently, I have the gate dialed it enough to not pick that up.
Until I turn it off. There you go. Cool. And it's a very bassy noise,
Mhm.
and it doesn't really rattle anything, so mic doesn't pick it up.
Scary
Not
movie.
that bassy.
Scariest movie I've ever seen to this day is probably Spice World.
That wasn't so much scary as it was disturbing.
Horror movie, man. Like real. I don't know if I've always been like way too interested in how it was done,
Mm-hmm.
with the effects work, like practical effects, and now VFX. I want to know how the shot's done. That's what I'm seeing. It's like the dragon. I'm like, all right, how do they do this one? And to really, I'm horrible at watching movies, is what I'm saying. I'm like, what? Oh, there was a plot? I don't know. All right, what? Yeah, Arrakis. 100%, man. That's what I'm talking about, Steve. Brian, I mean.
I saw that that movie Oculus with
Never heard of it.
Ginger Girl from Doctor Who.
You cast a wide net, sir.
The one that had a baby in the TARDIS that turned into River Song. Amy Pond.
There we go. Oh, the blue girl from Avengers.
Yes.
Ah,
Nebula.
Nebula.
It's it's about a haunted mirror. It wasn't a terrible movie,
I'm
but
just saying
it's
this
kind of
doesn't
corny.
work. It doesn't work on the sole fact that you said haunted mirror, and my first thought, non-vocalized, I'm like, I'd buy one of those.
Yeah, it's as far as horror movies go, it's not the worst I've seen. I mean, if you want to talk about the worst horror movies, there's still The Exorcist.
Jeez. Like, legit, I cannot think of, not really scary, like, creeped me out. Like, even, like, maybe after watching the movie, it's like, alright, that was the original Pet Cemetery, just a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's more that I just genuinely dislike children. Like, there you got like a zombie, undead, unkillable. So I was like, oh no, that's wrong.
I remember being way too young to watch that movie, and like one of the opening shots when they first go to school, they're dragging in like a kid that got hit by one of the trucks, and has got like his brains showing. It's like, I shouldn't be watching this.
Pet Cemetery 2 was like a parody movie, man. It was way too
Is that
funny.
the new one?
No.
Or
no.
the old Pet Cemetery?
Yeah,
too?
they made a sequel to it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. I had to watch this and it's like, they're just having fun with us. Okay, I can respect that piece of film for what it is. All right, let me grab a refill. We're going to get into it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, for me it was Alien. So I was a little too young when my dad took me to the theater to see it.
I was 13, and I remember it came on TV. It's like, oh yeah, it's the Halloween night, even though Halloween's not really a thing in Portugal. But they did like the scary movie thing, and one of the channels had the entire trilogy, because fourth was coming out or something like that. They did like the trilogy, and I remember being like 2 a.m. when it finally ended. It's like, yeah, Aliens, awesome. Walking up the stairs, going into my room, and I could hear the wooden furniture creak. Like,
Yeah.
right. Okay. They played a lot with silence.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was yeah, I enjoyed that series. Yeah.
And there's one I still want to see, A Quiet Place. I'm hoping
Oh,
for that to
that's-
show up on, to show up
Yeah,
on
that-
one of the streaming things, just because, like, quiet movies, they work for me, and that one is very much about the silence.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of times the movies are better if they don't show the gory elements. It's just the suspense and the it's definitely.
Same goes for horror games. Go figure.
Yeah. Yeah, Quiet Place is one of Steve Husband's favorite movies. Yeah. Trying to think, there's been so many good. I actually, The Birds was one.
Mm-hmm.
The
Is that the
giant
Hitchcock one?
cockroach. Yeah, the Hitchcock one.
Yeah.
Hitchcock. Are we talking about children's shows? No.
The Birds specifically.
Yeah.
Birds. That was a horrible band.
The bird is the word.
Yeah, so with the Alien, my dad, he just saw it said science fiction horror thriller. So had been to every science fiction movie out, and he never even thought of it as a horror. He didn't realize it was a horror film, too.
Oh, look, there's John Hurt, and he's dead. Okay.
Oh yeah, Steve Husband, original Wicker Man. Yeah, that's creepy.
Bees.
One thing I did, because we're going to see, like the 2009 Amityville.
Oh, Amityville Horror.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Pedro.
Amityville.
You-
Amityville.
Dude, pipe wrench. Right to my vocal processor. I was going to correct you, but you did so much damage I was incapable. It's like,
Oh, you were fine, Pedro.
I was with you. I was like, I don't know it either now. Thanks.
Yeah. So, but it's, I saw the original one before going to the theater to see the new one. And then I saw the new one. It's like, yeah, the original was scarier.
I don't. Did you see the trailer? Welcome back to Linux Carcast for the Ferrari versus Ford.
No.
Yeah, and it's the whole Le Mans thing. It's got Batman and
Which Batman?
Batman.
Okay.
Batman. And Space Matt Damon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're gonna. It looks all right. It's gonna be about the whole Shelby Ford Ferrari. It's like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. I saw the trailer. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch that.
I might have to watch that then.
Very interesting tale, even if you're not into automotive anything.
I've seen the documentaries, but yeah.
Hi, Zoe. Hi, Testman. Hi, Massavoni.
Okay. Discords. Return audio on that. Kind of keeping an eye on that because I've removed yet another sound card. So this is all being routed digitally with Discord now too. It's more of a challenge. It's wholly unnecessary. I was like, I bet I can make that work. I think we should be about right. Oh, and it's summertime. The children are out of school.
Yes.
Yep.
I saw some in my backyard. I was like, what's going on here? Which I don't. They don't mess with anything. But I got. All right, no school buses. All right. I wasn't in the mood to tell them to get off my lawn. I thought about it, and it's like I don't have anything to record this with.
Dang, kids. Get
All
off
right.
the lawn.
Backyard than I can use. I don't care. All right. Tap the brakes on that. Cool. Let's do a show. 45. Ready, Joe?
Yes.
Are you
I
sure?
am.
How about now?
Yes.
No, it's been a couple seconds. Things could have changed.
Then.
I don't know.
Are you ready, Ben? Are you ready, Pedro?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hell no.
That's
Absolutely
what that means.
not.
Maybe not.
I'm never ready.
What are you talking about, ready? I come in here and I wing this.
It shows. It does.
I didn't think I'd have to spell it out, but yeah.
Whatever happened to the monkey? Remember those? I'm sure we're all of the vintage because the steel monkey bars that were built on top of concrete.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, see how high you can climb.
Yeah. That was a thing.
Are you okay? I'm fine. I'm okay.
Just hanging by one leg at the top. Like, oh, this is great.
Yep.
I hate to say it, man. I mean, we were a slightly tougher generation.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right.
And sometimes the concrete was covered in sand, which if you're dropping doesn't really, smooth
Help.
it all that much.
I remember the big ginormous merry-go-round, and that was just metal. It did have a little bit of sand casually sprinkled around it,
Yeah.
but that was just to help with the bounce.
Well, you're going to slide another 30 feet instead of just, 20.
I don't think I've ever seen one here in America, but you might not be familiar, but I'm sure you've seen one, a witch's hat, which is the pole. It's kind of like an inverse merry-go-round, one that hangs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen one here, but I remember on that, and I went right into a tree, like couldn't breathe.
Oh.
Because, you're a child, so naturally everyone gets around to see how fast you can go, and you lose a grip and flew. I distinctly remember that, and I was like, I can't breathe. This is odd.
Yeah.
I'm trying to breathe in, but I can't.
It's way too fascinated that I was suffocating. It's called foreshadowing, I guess. All right. Let me tap the record. Wait. How about now? Ah, there you go, Audacity. Audacity gets confused sometimes.
Poor thing, it's still using ALSA.
Mine isn't.
Is that the only other option? Is it ALSA or Jack?
Yeah. Yeah. There's no. Well, you can do like pulse out. You can do pulse system default for like output.
Yeah.
All right. And... Cool.
Yes, that's the show, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
We had a good run. Time for credits.
Thank you, Shatrel. No.
Everything. And welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we can sit back, relax, take that midweek break, and talk about all the fun, fantastic things going on in the world of Linux, at least the things that we found a little bit interesting. I'm Vin Stone. That, and Impervious Giggle, that's it. I'm going to change the Impervious Giggle, is one Jill Bryan. And the man phoning it in from Britannia.
Hello.
You know, you love him. Pedro Mateus.
All the way across the world.
Across the pond. I was like, that's not how ponds work, morons.
Yes.
Ponds aren't salty.
Be quiet, Amy. And everyone joining us live. How's everybody doing? We got a bunch of fun things to talk about this week. Some a little ooky spooky, but some kind of surprising and fun.
Yeah.
Jill, you
Yeah.
did you just finally quit? Did you have enough of your students? You're like, I'm out, peace out, koala gift.
Yeah, so it's now the end of the semester, my animation class, so we're out for the summer, and I'm going to enjoy the summer, but I do miss my students also in the summer as well, but they keep in contact with me, and I've been having fun finishing my pink broadcasting rig. That's been a lot of fun. It's nice to take your time and just enjoy the process. And I have been also counting penguins, and you will find out about that, so stay tuned.
Pedro, you're a little sad. You had to get rid of your laptop.
I did. The Dell XPS I had for work. My boss is like, yeah, we need to give that XPS to one of the directors in one of the other sites. It's like, what happened to the previous laptop that person has? Like, well, they dropped it and then ran it over with their car. It's like, I don't want to give them my XPS. It's just, they're just gonna break it. No.
Oh, poor Pedro.
So yeah, no, I had to do that. It's basically just plug it into one of the docks, re-image it. It's like, there you go. Take it.
Hey, I had a very fun experience about reading RTFM, man. Do that every now and then. I don't know about you, everyone listening. I consider having to read instructions failure, incompetence on my part. It's like I have really exhausted every possible option. Like, all right, where's this genuinely happened with the Threadripper X399 motherboard. Put everything together, had it all. I knew that I was eventually going to, to hook up the LED front panel headers, but I couldn't find them to hook them up. This is way back when. I spent 5 minutes. It's like, I am not looking in the manual to do this. Anyway, to the point, back to the Threadripper, the Noctua has, I wanted to put the fans in a push-pull configuration, 140 millimeters. Noctua doesn't play around, man. I did that, cut it on. It made one of those horrifying, like something's wrong noises, not grinding, but like something's amiss. Turbulence between the two fans. And it turns out, like this massive pamphlet that they have, it is quite massive. way over on the right side. It was like section 9, subsection 3, appendix Q, subappendix. Haha, we buried this information here. There's like extra bumpers and like a resistor thing in a certain. There's one particular way to do this where it doesn't make a horrifying noise. And yeah, it's like, okay, that's the thing. I learned something anyway. So yeah, outside of that, that's my week. There's a little TIL for me. What do we have? Let's get into it. Let's talk about
We
Dells.
have, speaking of Dells, yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we do have the Precision 5540, 7540, and 7540 developer editions, new from Dell, next generation of Ubuntu-based Precision mobile workstations. Good news, right? Dell's been doing a bang-up job with delivering, because if you're thinking options, you might go, oh, System 76. Dead second would be Dell, or if you enterprise anything, Dell, right?
Yeah. Dell,
Yeah.
Doesn't Lenovo also do Linux versions?
Yeah. Well, everybody does the Linux version if you're brave enough, Pedro.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just straight up get the laptop and do your own Linux version.
Aw.
But it's those look really nice, and the one that they have at the top of the article looks exactly like that XPS I had to give up.
Aw.
Sorry.
Keep going. I'm enjoying that. Suffer more for this.
Well, Barton George has been, like Venice said, has been nailing it with Project Sputnik and putting Linux on all their laptops. It's really, really awesome. And I've been very impressed with the starting price points of these, which range from 1,100 to 1,400, depending on the model. And even the entry-level Dell Precision 3540, which was released May 1st, starts at just over $700. I mean, that's actually amazing. That's a really good price point to find that you can find a Dell Precision for under $1,000 to start. That is awesome.
Yeah, there is one thing I'd like to see though, because I know it's coming. They said it was coming, but I'd like to see some Ryzens.
Yeah.
Give us, some 8-core Ryzen laptops.
This is true. I mean, especially when you consider if you want to do all the apply all your security patches and disable hyperthreading.
Yeah. You don't need to worry about, having 16 threads exposing you to 8 different Spectre variants, plus Fallout, plus MDS, plus a bunch of other things.
Everything else is going on, but yeah, good on Dell. I mean, 5+ years of doing this, and hey, you can get it preloaded, you get support. It's pretty easy sale, especially at work. Good on them.
Yep.
Hey, everyone was really excited about Chrome and a new feature they're going to soon enable.
Oh yeah, they were so excited. And of course, especially the fine folks currently developing uBlock Origin, which basically became the de facto standard for just ad blocking plugins everywhere. And their GitHub, someone started a thread. It's like, okay, Google is doing this thing. And there's one of the comments that one of the developers does a very good job of explaining everything that Chrome is doing. So basically what they're doing is they're going to change how the API that controls the loading of certain web elements, they're going to fundamentally change how that works. Why? What the hell, Google? I don't know, for some reason Google just picked up for some reason. But yeah, they're going to change what elements get loaded and what certain pages are allowed to show or not. And the way that it used to work, it used to be that you could block an ad entirely without the what's going on? Nothing. Without the ad even loading in the first place. And now they're changing that the ad still loads, but the rules you'll be able to set rules to not show certain elements in a given page. And that's not making people happy, especially when you take into account the fact that Chrome has a limit of 2,000 rules currently. They say that they're going to increase that, but by how much, we don't really know.
It really, I mean, when you think about it, this has been well known. This has been something that's coming, and Google is definitely doing everything. Well, Alphabet, whoever, however you want to roll that, has been spinning this as a security thing. And I guess maybe at the end of the day, somehow with enough mental gymnastics, you could make that case. However, a very valid point, and you block this, but only people who, I mean, Google's an ad company. They want something, and you know, you don't hear like ad block, you know, who have like the recommended or the pass through ways, like give us some money and we'll let your approved ads show up. They don't seem to have a problem with this.
Because they're already using this new mode.
Yeah. You know, Chrome definitely won that market share that it got by being a better product. I mean, you might not want to admit this, but at the time, Firefox was junky. It was bloated. It was slow. It was not a good experience for anyone. You can pretend it was, but we both know you're lying. However, you know, Chrome definitely has the lion's share of the market right now. They went from like, look at this silly thing Google made to Google's taking over the web 100%, but you can lose that just as quickly, Google, as Microsoft, how that works out.
Yeah.
And there are, Jill, like you're going to say, man, there's valid alternatives, especially with Quantum, with Firefox, right?
Yeah, with Firefox, especially in the last year and a half or so, they've really improved. And I actually run all my blocking ads on Firefox. And I've actually been using Firefox more these days. So, I like to run all those plugins.
And that's one of the things that Chrome never really did. It did get a lot of extensions and a lot of plugins, but Firefox was always the dominant platform in that respect. You want a plugin to do anything, chances are there is one for Firefox. So
yeah, exactly.
Ad blocking is, and then data mining, you know, as soon as you realize like anything you type into the search bar on the Google goes back to Google, even if you like start backing it up. To me, I was like, yeah, I've already made that deal. Like that doesn't bother me.
That's fine. We all have Android phones, right?
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, we have alternates, you know, even with Chromium base, you're going to have Brave and you're going to have Vivaldi, which I'm currently running both of those right now in conjunction with Firefox.
Yeah.
But yeah, that this is going to be interesting to see how it pans out, I think. I know.
It is going to ruffle a lot of feathers, and it's already started to, clearly.
Yeah. And that's a good thing, you know, how much control should we be giving Google for this?
All of it. We got to show you the ads.
Yeah, Van, like you were saying, I mean, you know, they're going to repeat the same mistakes that Microsoft made. They got to be very careful and tread very gently.
Listen, this is just the end of Battlestar Galactica that never happened. This has all happened before, and it will all happen again. This is a natural cycle for any company to go through. But,
yes, it's true. Yeah.
Okay. That was, you know, we wanted to talk about that because it's kind of about Linux. This most definitely is about Linux. So.
Yeah. So this is Krita 4.2. This is one of my favorite open source digital painting applications, and they've just released the new version 4.2 after almost a year of development. Over 1,500 bugs have been fixed for better stability, and there are so many new features. We can't even mention them all. You'll have to go and read the article. But one of the major ones is the color palette Docker has been rewritten. It is much more flexible, and you can reorder swatches via drag and drop, or you can group swatches as well, and you can change the number of columns and rows in the color palette. And that's, you know, one of the most dominant tools, of course, in the painting program, because you're painting with colors. And so that's very important that they added that flexibility. And they also support GIMP color palettes that can be imported. And one of my favorite features is a new animation Python API has been created. And as a result of that, there are 2 new animation plugins, one for loading a video for reference and importing frames to your document, and the other for managing sprite sheets for game developers and animators.
That's
And
nice.
yeah, that's and they work really well. I was playing around with them. They work really well. And there's what's another huge awesome update to this version is much faster drawing with procedural brushes. And there's been a 50% increase in speed of drawing because Krita is now utilizing multi-core CPU processing. Yay!
Yay! It took them a while.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's just some of the new features. Please go and read the article and download the app image. It's great.
And Krita is one of those bits of software that they're really neat, and I wish they would get a bit more adoption because you need someone who
Yes.
actually needs a tool like this professionally to come in and say, okay, we need this, 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 and this.
And they'll be
Yeah.
they'll be told to go die in a fire.
Yeah.
That will happen,
I'm
most
just-
likely.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
That will happen. But I really do hope more people start to look at it as like, okay, that could be a thing, but it needs a bit more functionality in this area and this area.
Yes.
And, you know, in turn, make it so that people are willing to fund the project a bit more because they are getting some funds. And they have in the past, they had that bit of tax issues that I think it was private internet access that bailed them out.
Yeah.
So kudos, private internet access. But yeah, it's a really nice tool. I want to see
It's
it
amazing.
developed.
Definitely above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I'm GIMP, and I can
speak
finally.
as someone who has Nori here.
Yes.
You know, designed by
I-
proxy.
I'm switching my students to Krita and GIMP and all the open source tools. So, and they're really enjoying Krita because it has some functions that Photoshop doesn't even have.
I'm living that Inkscape lifestyle. But I like that because I hate myself.
Yes, Inkscape is great.
No, it's not. It is old Blender level UI, man. It's like, what? Okay. It's a great program. I'm just saying, user interface, UX.
Yeah.
Could use a little bit of love.
Yes.
Hey, you know, I think we went a whole week without you slagging off on GNOME, Pedro.
Are you sure?
I think I'm not 100%. We might have to go back and double check that.
Yeah. But it's this one is actually a positive thing. Honestly, if there's one thing that GNOME needs is better performance, and anything that the developers can do to improve on that aspect, by all means. And this is Georgios Stavrakis, or I don't know how to say his name. That's the best I could do.
Yeah.
And he posted a little video about using SysProf, which is a system profiling tool that basically it captures everything that the window manager is doing, and it profiles how it's performing, how long does it take, how many resources does it consume, so on and so forth. And he just goes through that for a couple of seconds, and then at the end of the video you can actually see him go through everything that he's doing, and how long it took, if any frames were dropped, if any frames were missed, and there's the score there. And it's that's good. That's really good. But if there's one thing you really don't want your end users to touch, and clearly GNOME is very much focused on the end user experience, because out of the box it doesn't let you touch anything. So you're supposed to use it as is. So that as is experience needs to be very important. And don't even mention profiler tools to your end users, because that'll get them running for the hills.
This genuinely looks like a gang of things that I instantly disable. I'm like, this is wasting valuable CPU resources. Why are you wishing? Why
That's
are
the
you fading?
thing. You can't.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you
DNF,
uninstall it and use
XFCE.
it.
Yeah, it works pretty well.
Yeah, you just have to use a completely different desktop environment. But yeah, no, they're working on performance finally, I think, ever since GNOME 322 or 324. Yeah. When that first came out, it's like, okay, we need to focus on the performance now. People have been complaining, and it was slow. Ever since 3.0,
Yeah.
it was really bad. It's getting better now. I have it running on the X230, and it is smooth. The animations, as you saw, like the opening the app drawer, that does work even on an old quad core 3450 i5, I think it is. So yeah, it's good. It's positive.
Yeah. Well, I think this is great for showing the community how this prof is being implemented to debug, benchmark, and test the speed of GNOME development. And this should help tremendously enabling code to improve GNOME. And, you know, it puts it out there in the community. Hey, this is how we do it. And maybe you can help. So, yeah.
You're welcome, everyone who has "This is how we do it" in your head now. Curious.
This is how we do it.
100%. Okay, booga booga time. Hidden VOS, malware,
this
Linux. Oh no, the
Oh,
world's
yes.
burning.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I think Arthur dropped this one in our notes. This is from
Yes.
Intezer.com. All this is going to be in our show notes, so don't worry about it. Look at that big spooky wasp. Evil men. Wasps serve no purpose. They give a pretty in-depth overview of this latest little bit of ooky spooky malware that has infected Linux systems. And really, one important thing, the reason I threw this in here is you can check if your system is infected by doing, just a search on your LDSO files, because if any of the files do not contain the string etc LDSO preload, your system may be compromised. I mean, this malware is still active, has 0 detection rate, and that's with all major antivirus systems, which a lot of you, I'm like, wait, what? Antivirus? Yeah, okay, I guess that is the thing. I know about checking for rootkits and stuff like that, which is it does contain code from, what is that, Mari, however you want to say that.
Mirai and Azazel.
Mira and Azazel. Those are rootkits, so they found some of that business in there. However, Pedro, like this article, like a lot of other ones, this is the reason I go through these. I'm like, wait a minute. So how do you get this? How does this infect the target system?
Yeah, that's the big question. And this article and all the other ones that we've seen over the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 days that this has been out, they have failed to mention anything about the exploit that got this into the system in the first place, or if this is in any way capable of doing that initial exploit or infection, as it were. But none of the articles mentioned that, and I found one article on ZDNet, of all places, that actually says, this is a stage 2 malware. This is the payload that the initial exploit dumps on a machine, and then it stays there stagnant and basically tries to hide itself as best it can from whatever is running on your system. And then it starts deploying rootkits and starts trying to actively target other machines in your network that may not be as protected. And yeah, this is stage 2. It only affects anything after the system was already compromised. But I guess it's not good shock value. You don't get as good an article title from stage 2 malware found on Linux. No. It's much better if you have like, new Linux malware found, escapes detection from all known antiviruses.
Well, this is a very valid point. I mean, like, this is something you could track. What if this only shows up if you have physical, access to a box? And it's like, this is not even a story, and what's something to look out for. But if this is something you can get over a network, then you're like, maybe,
if this
maybe
is
over
like
a WAN, you're like, oh, okay. Then
a remote exploit, then this would be huge. It would be the biggest remote exploit since... When was the last remote exploit on Linux?
Oh no, man, it's been a minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted to give that a mention. Just be on the lookout. Ooga booga, right? Don't type in your root password, kids.
Yeah, don't just copy paste stuff off the internet into your terminal.
Yeah.
Just don't.
All right, I'm gonna level with you. Have you been frustrated enough where you blindly start doing that?
Yeah. I think we've all done that.
I'll do that if I see, okay, this is this command and this does this. All right. I'll look at the command and I won't bother researching if I know what it does. But if it's a new command with like a new bit of software that I've never used before, it's like, what does this do? To Google.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Sometimes not. I've definitely been mad enough to like, I don't care at this point. This box is getting reimaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a valid strategy as well. Just nuke and pave.
It's like it's either going to work. It's going to work one way or the other. A little bit of news about Canonical and the goings on from Mark Shuttleworth.
Indeed, and this Mark Shuttleworth gave a big interview to the Computer Business Review, and CBR being what it is very much focused on the business side of things. So if you're not too much into the business, this interview is going to be a little bit boring. But there are some very good and some very poignant questions posed to Shuttleworth, and he does a very good job of putting a positive spin on it. I don't know if he's being honest or not, but he does a good job of making it sound.
I'm just worried about this pie chart. There's Ubuntu, then there's Linux,
Yes.
then there's Debian.
Yeah, there's
Windows.
Linux, Ubuntu, and then all the other Linuxes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and he one of the questions was like about open source software and how the licenses affect everything, and he says that they publish a lot of open source, but nothing. Conveniently, his answer doesn't mention anything about contributing back to the project that they've based their entire operating system and cloud infrastructure on, that they don't contribute back to. Yeah, he forgets to mention that, but that stuff's important. Mark, just saying. But yeah, it is a sizable interview, and I'll pass it off to Jill because you highlighted a quote there.
Yes, most definitely. Actually, Mark Shuttleworth did a lot of really good. It was a very thoughtful interview, and one of my favorite quotes of his was, "Lots of businesses that are long-standing VMware and Red Hat customers are now signing up with Canonical for new projects. They're not doing a rip and replace. They're not throwing the other guys out. They're just essentially preserving that at this stage while growing a new Ubuntu estate." And I thought that was really well put, because as we know, a lot of the companies are using multiple versions of Linux for different functions, and Ubuntu is really growing.
So
I know what Ben's gonna say.
Homeboy talking smack about slow Eris. Don't talk bad about slow Eris. Oh no, 100%. He does bring up that he's like, if you want to know why some people in IT still long for the days of slow Eris, see, I'm going to do it now. Slow Eris instead of slow Eris. These are also the same people that are going to be dealing with HP OS 400 and variants like that. It's because it worked. It still does work. Good. Well, very good. It's called enterprise, man. It's definitely a realm where the mention of like clouds or, moving fast and breaking things will get you busted down to the help desk, if not thrown off the top of the building.
Yep.
That's just not how that rolls, and you're looking at like Red Hat, Oracle, IBM. They got that on lock, enterprise. 100%. I mean, that's what I walk into, nothing against, like, we're doing everything in the cloud, and Ubuntu, Canonical's doing a good job with that stuff. I mean, that's where their market focus is, but it's an apple and orange comparison, and it's like, wow, of course they're going to keep the stuff that their, company is based on this mission critical. It's like, they're not ripping that out. It's like, no.
You don't say.
Yes.
And he also, I was going to say threw some shade, but it wasn't so much throwing shade as it was, well, people rely on Red Hat because of OpenShift and the Kubernetes implementation and everything else that Kubernetes gives you. And he's like, yeah, but you load up a Linux system and Kubernetes, you load that on top of that, and all of a sudden it's free. You don't have to pay for the Red Hat license. So are you saying that the cloud implementation of Ubuntu isn't going to require payment?
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
100%.
Yeah.
You didn't know. I now speak on behalf of Shuttleworth.
Clearly.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing, man. I mean, it is. I got nothing but love for Canonical. I got a lot of love for Shuttleworth because that's somebody that cashed in around 26 with like $500 million. And instead of like, yo, private island, whatever, like what 99% of everyone else would have done, it's like, hey, man, I'm going to try to make Linux a thing. I'm going to try to turn it into a desktop. I'm going to start a company, and this company is going to do moonshot programs. We're going to try to make phones. We're going to try to make our own X server. And you need companies like that. They gotta do the wild stuff and have the financing to do it and the people to do it and the talent to stick it all together. So yeah, that's what I think about Canonical. I know a lot of people like Pedro is like, oh, I'm gonna hate on him. I'm like, nah, you keep doing you.
I hate on everyone.
Oh, no. So, talking about Canonical, trying to make the Linux desktop thing, ZDNet, take your best shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the last best shot. Steven's back. With Microsoft cutting off support for Windows 7, the Linux desktop may finally get a stay in the sun. But are Linux companies ready to take advantage of their opportunity? Oh yes, the Linux companies, the one that stocked the Linux store down there on Linux Street. Check this out, Brad. I'm going to say Linux has been a perfectly serviceable desktop for probably well over 2 decades. It's 2019. If you ask me, not an unpopular opinion, the battle for desktop TM is only being fought by a select few online, kind of us, desktop PC users, and our voices will be heard. Because, if you haven't noticed, like the desktop as itself, as a whole, it's kind of a lost thing. It's a dying art. It's not the future. I hate to say it. And yes, I will have to pry it from my own cold, dead hands, but we're going to see the convergence, man. I mean, it's going to be that single device. It's going to be your mobile, whatever. I don't know if it's going to be holographic socks that you will communicate with, but
socks.
The very concept of having a monitor, having a tower, and sitting in front of that and using that for your computing, that's going away. So
some of the diehards will keep like the monitor setup and maybe an external GPU enclosure, and then they'll get home, take their phone out of their pocket, put it on the dock, and all of a sudden there's a computer.
That's cute, Pedro. They're just going to use their TV, which is going to be 8K.
Some people will have TVs as well.
All TVs. Shuttleworth told me.
Yeah.
But I for one am of the opinion that yes, the idea of convergence of having your phone be your computer and you come home, you plug it into a dock. I'm going to be one of those people. Just keep 2 monitors, drop the phone in with an external GPU enclosure. Boom. It's my gaming computer now. I want that.
Stadia.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
And you're definitely going to have that. Like right now, you're thinking like the immediate future. You're thinking maybe a decade out. I'm talking 20 years out. Even Microsoft's like, yo, you want support for Windows 7? We're going to stream that to you.
Yeah.
That's how
we're
that's
going to give you
work.
Windows 7 as a service.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be use cases. Like general computing is done on mobile devices today. That's the average person. That is their computer. It's in their hand, and it's a tablet. It might be their TV. It's not, they have a tower desktop from the 90s with a 14.4 modem, and I'm like, yeah, I have a computer, look.
I haven't turned it on in 20 years.
Right, and it's a difficult thing to hear, especially if you're somebody watching this show, and you're like, this is madness. And I'm like, no, that's normal people. We got a bubble going on.
Yeah.
And that's going to be going away, so I don't see, this is like pouring tons of research. We can even go back to Canonical going, hey, we're going to make something that works with touch and all that. Even GNOME was like, yeah, let's make this work with touch. Little ahead of the curve there, because that hasn't gotten to the point. But, even people on the side of, like, we see where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not keyboard and mouse. I don't like it any more than you. I mean, that's how it's going to boil out.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's necessarily a war we need to continue fighting. Just use XFCE. It's never going to change. 50 years from now, it's going to be awesome.
Well, if we're talking desktop environments, I'm going to say Cinnamon, KDE, and Budgie.
You know what? That sounds like a good case for Mint.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, it does.
Yeah, so this is, oh boy, this is a really controversial article at the right now. James Sanders of Tech Republic says that cinnamon makes more sense as a distribution agnostic package. And he also states that persisting in maintaining Linux Mint as a platform to showcase cinnamon makes no sense when the labor of maintaining a distribution is handled better by Ubuntu, Fedora, SUSE, and Arch, among a select few others. And you know, I disagree and agree at the same time with this. I don't think a Linux distribution needs to be deprecated just because it created a unique desktop manager, such as Solus with the Budgie desktop, Ubuntu Mate with the Mate desktop, and Elementary OS's Pantheon desktop. But I do understand that it would make it easier for the devs and Clem, the main developer at Linux Mint, to just focus on Cinnamon and its implementation in other distros. But, you know, Linux Mint has a lot to bring to the table. They have a wonderful fast installer. It's actually the fastest around of all the USB Live installers I've used. It is the fastest. And the Cinnamon desktop has an easy to use Windows-like interface, and Linux Mint is one of the distros that I recommend new users to learn Linux on. And it ranks third at DistroWatch. DistroWatch may not be accurate, but still is very telling. So I think there's still a place for Linux Mint. But I think Pedro disagrees with me.
Completely. But then again, I'm the negative Nancy here, so... Yeah.
Oh, sweetheart.
But yeah, no, to your point, Jill, I don't think anyone was making the point that, you know, Solus is just a showcase for Budgie or anything the sort. That is more of a secondary point that the article was saying. Is like, Linux Mint as a distro, it doesn't really have anything going for it anymore. It used to be, it's like, okay, you're a Windows user, you want to try Linux? Go with Linux Mint. It set the codecs out of the box. It had a layout, even back in the old GNOME 2 days, it had a layout that was very similar to Windows. And a lot of the stuff was in, you know, the places where you'd expect, and everything looked familiar enough that someone who was only ever used to using Windows could easily, it's like, oh, okay. And you could start learning that. But as time went on, the Windows desktop paradigm changed and Linux Mint stayed the same. And then GNOME 3 came out and they decided, you know what, let's make Cinnamon. Great idea. Cinnamon's an awesome desktop environment. It tries to do similar things to what Windows 7, like the Windows 7 desktop did. And it does that reasonably well. But out of the box, the experience with Linux Mint, at least for me, has been a buggy one. And it doesn't even give you like the advantage of having the codecs pre-installed anymore. It's like, oh, so it's basically just Ubuntu with a theme using Cinnamon. Okay, I don't see the point in it anymore, to be honest.
Oh, positive Pedro. All right. What, you know, you got to think about this, and I've said this before. Back in 2006, Mint was legitimately the new hotness. It was. It's like, oh, it was the arch of its day in the popularity. And like with all new hotness, it's kind of faded away. But as Pedro pointed out, it definitely made a point because it was shipping Flash and it was shipping your multimedia codecs, something that even Fedora does now. But Fedora, come on, Fedora tries to make you feel, dude. It tries to make you feel bad about it. It always has. They're never gonna. It's like, oh, do you want to send the bad ones? It's like, yes, you mean the ones that work? Yes, those. 100%. Cinnamon, as you said, you know, definitely a neat desktop, albeit completely and wholly inferior to XFCE and Mate. But it was created as a response to GNOME 3, which was a bit of a nightmare, especially on day one.
Yep.
When basically, because GNOME 2, I used GNOME 2, and it's like, that's good enough.
Everyone used GNOME 2. Yeah. It was the most popular desktop environment of the time. It was good.
That was like the only time I let go of it. I was like, yeah, this works fine. I can do it, because it's like, okay, I don't have a problem with it. But, you know, I don't think we need to write them off just yet, because like over on their blog, they did a total of $24,000 in donations, making it their biggest month ever, and that's pretty good. So I don't think we can write Mint off as a thing. People like it. People love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who will defend Linux Mint, and chances are you've probably seen that video with the orange backgrounds, like, stop hating on Linux Mint. And
I want to live a life that is, I want to be fortunate enough to where I actually want my life going so well that something like is a legitimate issue that I'm going to complain about is a Linux distribution. I'm envious of people with that type of time and just everything
commitment.
going. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been as committed to anything as these people are to Linux Mint. It's like, kudos, but really?
Well, this is Linux, man. I mean, a lot of people, like, you can definitely get into Linux. Don't make a distribution like, you can make it part of your identity. Like, that's fine, but don't make the distribution you use the most interesting thing about you. Don't defend it like that.
Yeah.
Think about it a little bit more. But, hey, beautiful people, we do have to pay the bills, actually. And we're not going to do that by telling you to buy things. So why don't you buy some things over at... No, I just want to mention this, like we mentioned last week. If you're looking for everything that... pick it up on Newegg or whatever. We put a little thing together of all the hardware we use to make the show because people were asking about that. I made a list, and it's detailed, and I'll tell you about everything. And we do got a little bit of news, Jill. We actually have something with Weekly Daily Wednesdays on it.
We have LWW shirts, and I'm sure mugs will be coming soon.
Nope.
And then... we gotta have mugs too.
Come on, Jill. Do you want to do any other products?
Oh, because
I got old, man. Come on, bring it.
Okay. I'd like LWW hoodies too.
We got a gang of stuff though. We got our face on a shirt, Pedro. That is
that is a shirt that will get bought, as well as a hoodie and one of the pink Hell Elks mugs for Nori because she liked those.
No.
Yeah, the strawberry Hell Elks.
I would just say this is kind of how I broke it down. And I was like, okay, Pedro. Hey, Pedro's like, face on shirt, neat. Jordan, wholly indifferent. Jordan's like, whatever. Me is like, this is the only shirt, the only merchandise in that store that I do not own, nor will I. I am wholly against. I don't even want that in the house, man. Hopefully you do, or something like that. I don't know, but that's cool. Thanks everybody, LGC merch. And now you can have the Weekly Daily Wednesdays t-shirt. It's just the classic. It's plain. You'll never see it on a hoodie and or a cup.
Yep.
Never.
Vince being mean.
Not being mean, man. You're the one dooming products. I'm doing damage control. I'm like, but it's got some patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. 118 beautiful party people making all of this possible. Not just this show, our big show on Saturday, our streams on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. We're going to be getting together this Friday for some Jackbox. Come hang out. Is that we do it. We got a couple of perks for everyone who joins us on Patreon, up to and including access to the Discord. And we do a pre super shows and a production meeting that you can come hang out with an hour beforehand on the audio stream on LGC FM, which is available through the Discord. And I actually had somebody ask me, maybe there's a little bit of confusion with Discord. It's like, I don't want to install a program. It's a web page. It's Slack that has the ability to let people know, if you choose to, what video game you're playing. Think of it like that. This is how you think of Discord. But we also have IRC, irc.freenode.net. Come in there anytime we are live. And we're definitely jamming in that. But hey, man, thanks everybody for making this possible. And a big extra thanks to every one of you who are sharing the show. That's awesome. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. Take a minute to do it. I always do it when other people are doing their business. And because, that's how we let each other know. It's like, hey, maybe you like this stuff. And they're like, no,
And
that's
that's-
horrible. How dare you listen to stuff like that?
It's not a direct contribution, but that's actually one of the things that helps the most
It's
because
marketing.
you know about it, but your people who follow you on the social medias may not know about it, and they may enjoy it, they may not. So let them know. Put it in
Yeah.
front of their
Well, that's
faces.
the whole, like, one of the reasons, like, all of our t-shirts and stuff like that are not like $27 because we're not trying to make money on that. That's like, hey, man, I want people to genuinely get confused. Like, what's that about? And you have to explain it, not me. Good luck with that, beautiful people. Thanks again. Keep being awesome.
Yeah.
Slice of pie. Boop, boop.
Ooh.
Yay! Ooh, neat
Yeah.
picture.
Fancy towel.
Quilted pie.
Yeah. Oh, someone took some care and love in that one. So this is something I was really excited about, and I mentioned at the top of the show. You can help save penguins' lives by counting penguins for Penguin Watch. Penguin Watch is now working with the World Wildlife Fund and British Antarctic Survey, and this is an incredible project using Raspberry Pi Zeros with Raspberry Pi camera, the Raspberry Pi camera module that takes photos and time lapse of penguin colonies along the Antarctic Peninsula. Excuse me.
Everyone's allowed one, Jill.
Pedro,
It's good.
no. If you're watching the pre-show, Pedro Challenger just appeared, son.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yes.
At least I know how to pronounce peninsula, so.
Oh. Oh. So all you have to do to count penguins is go to the Penguin Watch website, which is in our show notes, and a random image of a penguin colony is displayed, and you then label and click on the adults, chicks, the eggs, and the other animals, and it counts them for you, and that helps the scientists. And one of my favorite quotes in the article is, by counting the birds in their colonies, users help penguinologists measure changes in the birds' behavior and habitat and in the larger ecosystem, thus assisting in their conservation. And, this can also help scientists understand how the penguins are being affected by climate change and the potential impacts of local fisheries. And it's something fun and easy. I created an account and have already counted several hundred penguins on multiple images. So it's a really fun way to help save the penguins.
Penguin Clicker, the game.
Yes.
Penguinologist, man. That's
Yeah.
a title. That's going to confuse
Yeah.
you. Don't show up at a Linux conference and tell anyone what you
I'm
do for a living, because
Everyone will look at you as like, are you making fun of us? What?
Yeah. Oh.
okay. HK Cam. What's this? Never heard of it.
Indeed. So speaking of Raspberry Pis with the camera module, this one is, well, it's a home security system that was built as cheaply as possible, and the original developer, yeah, it's very yellow. The original developer even created not just the base resource files for the 3D prints, but he's also offering to sell them. He's based in Austria, so if you spend more than 30 euros and you want to have it shipped in the US, it won't cost you any extra for shipping, which is great. It's a bit less if you're in the EU. No idea what's it gonna cost to run it on to the UK currently, but we're still in the EU, so maybe that still counts. But yeah, it is just a Raspberry Pi with a camera module, and it's a teeny tiny little remotely accessible camera that's running on the Raspberry Pi that's inside a little case there.
Yeah, it uses Raspberry and it's part of HomeKit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got an app
Yeah.
for it. And that could be useful.
Oh, definitely.
It is genuinely useful, and we need more people doing stuff like this, not just useful stuff, but you know how we usually talk about, it's like, oh, this really involved project, but you need to source out these parts yourself. Well, here we have someone with the resources and the capability to actively ship all of the stuff that you need everywhere in the world. We need more people doing that.
This is 100% true. And I like the fact that it's yellow because you can set it up in your house. The next time somebody's over at your house and they're like, what's that? You can go ring, 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 ring.
Yeah.
Gam. Then they'll look at you with disappointment, like they often do, and you'll continue on with whatever. Yeah. 100%. Okay. Heater meter.
That's what it is.
Surprisingly, something we didn't name. That sounds like one of our projects. Open source barbecue controller. I wanted to throw this in because last Saturday in the pre-show, Shatrilum was having a little bit of a barbecue off. 100%. Like, I'm making barbecue. I was like, no, I'm making more barbecue. And, you know, if you've ever spent like the weekend knee deep in marinade, yeah, pro tip, don't get kidnapped by cannibals, kids, especially ones that possess a heater meter technology, because it is a rather nifty open source controller for your barbecue. And it's built around the Raspberry Pi. And this is what it like made me happy. Like right here. Very much unlike Machete, it texts. Yeah.
Yeah, that is really cool.
The technical part of me is like, okay, this is neat. I'm down with that. The other part's like, half the fun's hovering around and having people bring you alcohol while you cook. This is how you get me to cook, by the way. Keep me plied
You can bribe
with booze.
Ben with booze.
Yeah. That's how I end up being the one working the grill. And a lot of people I don't trust not to kill themselves with undercooked meat. This is pretty cool. Like, you know, you could use it for hot dogs, right, Pedro?
Just steak. Just, you know, get the ideal temperature that you could drop a steak on the grill for like 20 seconds, flip it over, 20 seconds, done. Next.
No, you cook a steak in a microwave like a normal person.
No.
I hate those people. Also, you can't talk to them because they're still chewing.
Yeah. Good one, Pedro.
Look at you with you lazy steak eater. Trying to burn calories, man. That's a neat project. Again, any excuse to bring your love of technology together with your love of playing with fire. Because let's face it, that's what barbecuing is. It's like, oh, I can play with fire. Yay.
It's like squirt, lighter.
Aw.
100%
Fire.
propane and propane accessories. Hey, maybe you want to tell us about how you enjoy mixing your love of Linux technology and fire. How could you do that?
Well, you can do that in a multitude of ways. Chances are we're going to be talking about one of your stories if you do. But if we don't, and you still feel like those charred eyebrows are worth a mention, you can go to linuxgamecast.com, hit the contact button, fill out the forum, let us know exactly how you managed to, I don't know, burn your pinky toe. And yeah, we'll be more than happy to feature
Is that a challenge?
Sure.
Pinky toe burning challenge.
Ew.
Yeah, let's make that a thing. Make me like the internet enemy #1 of the week.
Yeah,
Aw.
you know, I could see the internet violently reacting to the pinky toe burning challenge.
I know that some people would actually do it. But
I'm
yeah,
sorry, I
contact
mispronounced.
form,
I meant to
it's
say
pretty
care.
easy.
What? Contact form. We got a thing. Be careful. I am still dialing in our spam bot, and you might run into that. Just be, you know, don't try to offer us like jewelry and jet rentals. Keep that out of there, and it won't tell you that you're a naughty spammer. Okay, Adam, we were talking about NVIDIA.
Yes.
Last week. We're like, NVIDIA is a thing. It's okay. It's not entirely evil. A little bit evil, but Adam had a different thought on it. Pedro?
Yeah. Because someone made the point that it's like, oh yeah, like all of those open source games that you're playing with your
By somebody, he
NVIDIA.
means me. Because
Yes.
that's the thing I regularly say. It's true.
Yeah, and to that point, Adam says, I don't mind proprietary games. You can wrap them in fire jail with the --net none flag to keep them isolated. Proprietary blobs generally can't access the internet, with some exceptions, so I don't mind them either. I just don't like NVIDIA's proprietary drivers because they're a pain in the ass. on some of the weirder things I do on X. It's like, okay, expand on the weirder things, because now I'm
Right.
curious.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Technically correct. The best kind is like, you can't go anywhere with it. You're like, I do some weird things that they don't work with.
Okay,
Oh,
no,
all right.
use cases.
Use case.
Very, very specific
Yeah.
use cases. Sure, but explain. I
The
want to know.
Exception doesn't prove the rule. And
Yeah.
I always have to go down like the open source versus closed source, because I'm not like, oh my God, everything needs to be, no, not at all. Everything we do, like up to including how we stick things together, I put online because I want more people to do it. And the best way to do that's to tell them how. But when it's like, well, proprietary, it's like, well, what about your CPU? How deep do you want to go? Do you want to go Full Metal Stallman on this? Because you can buy a completely open source hardware stack and a
Yeah.
laptop.
Lenovo X220s.
This is a very real thing, man. And so that's why I'm like, as long as it works on Linux, I'm down with it. Also,
Yeah.
I'm going to say in general, because there are apparently weird things to do on it. I want to know because I want to play with it. But just quit saying it was like, if you're talking about laptop drivers, I got you, fam. I feel you on that. Yeah, okay.
Optimus is a different thing.
But for desktop, since the days of 3D effects, man, and that rolled into NVIDIA, we're talking in the 90s, early 2000s, NVIDIA support, hardware accelerated support has been painless on Linux. I mean, Pedro, am I wrong? Jill, am I wrong?
Yeah, it's been
Not really.
painless. The only weird thing I can think of even suggesting is if he's trying to test Zynorama, because Zynorama does work better with the open source drivers than the NVIDIA drivers. But
That's never
You know,
worked properly anyway.
it's never, and that's exactly what I was going to say. It's never perfect on either one, but it does seem to work better on Mesa than it does the proprietary NVIDIA.
That's cool. I just like things to work. I mean, pick up AMD. I mean, I'm really genuinely curious as to see what Navi's going to bring to the table. I mean, it could give me a good option to roll with that. And apparently NVIDIA's like, yeah, we're just going to release some more cards too. Yeah.
We're going to refresh our current lineup and call them Super.
Super. Thanks for asking the card. Oh, man. We're not going to do any better than that. So we need to get out of here, roll some credits, and thank everybody for showing up. We'll see you next week. Maybe.
Yay!
Do I have credits? Maybe I got credits. There they are.
There could be credits. Schrodinger's credits.
Hey, man. There
Until
will
the
be
credits show up on screen.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you, Jill.
Thanks, Squeaks.
Thank you, our lovely chat
Dear
room.
and Foxy Andrew, Atomic Mike. Oh, man, that's as far as I got. I tried to. I took a swing.
Producers Nathan Veritanuda, Simcha, Arthurn.
Texas North Ranger
He's
Igor,
like,
Mir, Jake, Vladimir, Colin, Ryan, Scott.
You're just making things up, man.
Stein-Erik Svenheim.
Hey,
Yeah.
stick around for the intro of the produced version
M.
because I
Langston,
spent 2
Mr.
hours
Alert.
making that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, you spent 2 hours
Yay.
rendering that.
Also, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Love you.
Cool. Now, I need to go get a refill. Give me just a
All right.
moment.
It takes me about 45 minutes to get back up to speed on Blender.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 3D modeling with nodes. It's the grand skill of my scale of my skill set. It's not very high. Doesn't take much to do. And Blender's gotten a lot better. I mean, it still does just
Oh, yeah.
mind-numbingly dumb things like the save menu.
Yeah. Yeah, they really made a lot of improvements to the new version. Mhm.
Yes, the AMD GPU prostate drivers.
You know, AMD's doing the thing with Samsung.
Yeah.
Yeah, the partnership
phones.
with you. And I was just like, I didn't know they had a mobile version of the GIMP for the help files. So I don't.
Yeah, how are you gonna run those? Well, they all run in Mesa now, so you don't need FGLRX anymore. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because AMD GPU is basically a shim. That's
Who
not,
uses a
you know.
keyboard shortcut to save? Use your MIDI-powered control surface, scrub. Hot sequence on the second layer to do that.
Yeah, big fan of Control S.
What? Oh, Control S? Yeah. I don't know. I'd use something with a jog wheel, but I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. Do you really want to spend some money? It's like, no. We got some really boring stuff coming in. We got some SSDs for the Optiplex boxes.
They're so cheap now.
Yeah.
$19 a piece, man. I mean,
I know.
Yeah, it's like
All you need is
120
128.
gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, 120
128's
gigs,
overkill.
20 pounds.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, what do I need? I need a kernel.
Okay.
I need
Yeah.
X and all the libraries needed to launch Chrome and Jack. There we go. And I have some 1 meter HDMI cables coming.
Nice.
Because this is something... It's cheaper to buy a 3-pack than just to buy one. Thanks, Amazon.
Yeah, I love
Yeah, it is.
Amazon for that. Yeah.
I don't, because I don't need 3. I don't have the hoarding gene either. And now I'm stuck with 2 I gotta get rid of.
I like to buy 3 of everything.
Throw it at
It's
one of the
just-
kids that play in your backyard.
Dude, somebody's gonna be over and like, hey man, you want Diet Coke and an HDMI cable?
What was that second thing?
Yeah. I just here you go. The sync is just a little bit off between these 2 monitors coming into this box over the HDMI converters because Pedro has like a 2.5 meter cord between the PC and the splitter versus Jordan's box just being a 0.5 meter cord.
Oh, yeah. Makes a difference. Yeah.
I mean, a little bit. And the way OBS does things, like the stream's pretty much spot on, but like the recording is 10 milliseconds off, which is easy enough to fix. DaVinci does this neat thing when you drag the audio showing you a millisecond timer.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that, Katie, in live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hating on. I use Katie in live every Wednesday and Saturday.
Oh, but the Smack Z is totally coming, you guys.
It is.
Yeah. It's on it made it to Lilliputian. Good.
They showed a picture. It was like, this is our production facility, and it was like a guy at an empty warehouse and 2 desks.
Yep.
I was like, we're gonna make 10 of them. Yeah. That I don't have high hopes for, especially because they're like, what Linux? We never said anything about Linux. It comes with Windows.
It would make sense, you know? Like, embedded device, embedded parts. You probably want the customizability and the modularity that the Linux kernel gives you. You probably want to be using that, especially since Steam gives you Proton and you could use that. It's just saying.
Nope. At this point, I just watched the Smash Z thing as like one of my drama soap operas. It's like, I just want to see what happens next, man. And it's like, yeah, all right. Gonna be something. But I mean, that has been just, released next year for what? 6 years?
It's been a while.
Yeah, there's only like one or two. Like they have a subreddit. There's only like one or two people in the entirety of that are still like blindly defending it. Even the people they've had over half a decade to go from like, yeah, okay, we'll wait and see now.
Mm-hmm.
You think like 6 years ago, they got to deliver those Kickstarters or their Indiegogo units.
Do they though?
You know, if they don't want AMD to go scorched earth policy on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be attached to a project with that.
Because as far as we know, they are the ones using that particular SoC. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw, it looks blinky. I mean, if I like pulled all the contrast out of that.
It's just gray.
Yeah. Simplifies things.
That's how I have one of the laptops set up. It's it just boots into open box with nothing on screen.
That's how all my computers work.
You have desktop icons.
Oh, you don't do icons?
No.
I don't.
I hit Alt F2 and I type. I do have some icons attached to the panel at the bottom, but not on the desktop.
Yeah, same here. I'll just use a panel, but I never have icons on my desktop normally.
Never normally.
Never normal. Never normally.
Oh, I can tell you exactly when I have an icon on my desktop. When I set up a game through Play on Linux, and I need it to create a shortcut.
Oh yeah,
it
yeah.
automatically pops up there. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I still prefer right-clicking on the desktop and accessing my menu. So that's the way I do it, or a command line.
Yeah, there's something about opening VT and typing something in that is a lot less efficient than double-clicking on something that you normally use.
That's why Firefox and Thunderbird are pinned to the panel.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It took a few years. I mean, I definitely I was genuinely upset when XFC introduced desktop icons, but it grew on me. Now, in all fairness, I have two, but how many desktop icons do you not have right now, Pedro?
Sorry, I was distracted catching this stupid fly.
You've been distracted trying to catch that fly for the better part of an hour.
It keeps flying in front of my eyes.
That's what flies do. They're not called walks.
You got
it's
it,
dead
Pedro.
now, so.
Oh yeah, Arthurian. So one of my penguin mugs. This mug is cool because my one of my best friends, Betty, our Linux chicks, gave that to me for Christmas. My penguin mug. I love this one. And it's it's neat. The name brand is Love Cup, and they have love and a little penguin there.
All right, Pedro. All right, Jill. Your turn. No time to mess around. Desktop screenshots. Print screen.
Ah.
There's the print screen. Come on, Katie, don't do this to me. There we go. For some reason, the window showed up below Vivaldi. Come on, drag and drop. There we go. $4.51 megabytes. And there's my home folder if anyone's curious what it looks like.
That's what I'm going for, baby. just go for shoving everything on the taskbar.
Yeah, I just pinned the stuff I regularly use. It's all down there in the panel.
That's where we differ. I like a clean taskbar.
But it's a taskbar. It's what it's
Don't
meant
judge
for.
me. Mister, I use color on my desktop.
Yes.
What's wrong with you? What do you have on your bar? I have, let's see, I have Terminal, I have Gedit, I have Thunder Chicken, Chrome, Steam, Pavu, and Pitcher.
I have Thunderbird, Steam, Audacious, GIMP, the Terminal, Terminator, Firefox, Discord, and Pavu Control. Oh, and the File Manager.
Yeah, I do have that. I don't really use them, but I like that they're there. The Home and Crunch, Steam Ace, and Scratch drives listed on the desktop.
Yeah,
with trash.
Those I have those on the devices in the File Manager. They just show up on the bottom left, so they're there.
I have a noise repellent folder, which whatever. I'm not moving it. It's there to remind me the name of the damn plugin. And I have SSH Adore, which is just a script, which that's going to stay on the desktop because that's where it needs to be.
Yep.
Discord and Governator. And that's it. Oh, do you have taskbars for all of your screens?
Nope.
Just
I have the one taskbar on the UHD screen
Uh-huh.
because it's the one that has the most real estate. So yeah, you
One
get a
thing
taskbar down the bottom.
I liked about Enlightenment E22 or 23. Really easy to customize and set up a taskbar and applications bar on each screen.
Yeah. You can do it easily in KDE. You could just right-click New Panel, and it'll create a new panel on whichever monitor your cursor is currently on.
Okay, here's my thing. I'm not on my normal desktop right now because I'm on my temporary laptop. But I'm on Budgie right now, actually Ubuntu Budgie right now. But I also have Solus on this computer as well.
You could have Solaris on there.
Yeah, I could. I've got that on other computers. But that's all I have for icons is the left panel.
Yep.
The ones we use for the show.
Yeah, this one thing I don't like with GNOME period is if you don't have it on that panel, having to go to applications then type. Like, you can go die in a fire. I have to like take a hand off the interface that I'm using in order to get to the no.
With Budgie, you can actually have the taskbar on the exact same panel, and there are a couple of GNOME extensions that let you do that on GNOME 3.
Oh, would you like? Yeah, this is the GNOME argument. Would you like basic functionality? Yeah, that's going to be an extension, buddy.
Yep. Do you want to change the simple, most basic of settings, like, I don't know, which font your system uses? You're going to have to install GNOME tweaks.
Seems good.
Yeah.
The I don't know, like rethinking that, like CDE, Unix's, Xerox, these old operators, they had it right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the task, what people would call the start menu, but that system works. It's also great for discovery. Like, what's on the system?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through here. Not a search box. You better have some idea.
You can, there is like the applications folder, or the applications shelf, whatever they call it. It shows you everything, but it scrolls page by page, and all of the icons, they're not sorted by categories. They completely ignore the XDG categories. So yeah, no, look, all the icons.
That's helpful if I know what the icons are.
Yeah.
There's that.
I do like the ability to just Alt F2. That's one of the habits I gained from early on Linux. Alt F2 run thing.
Oh, Alt
Yeah.
F2.
Yeah.
Alt F2 is your bro. That's
Yeah.
Oh right, I killed Compton for a minute. Hang on.
Alt F2. There.
Oh man, don't worry. Ladies, I will definitely be talking trash about XFC because I know 414 is going to have some gotchas.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, they'll be
Yeah.
laughably small.
I
What,
can't
Sean?
wait to get back to my 3 monitors again. I do enjoy having this nice, huge, big monitor. So, but it's going to be nice to have the other 2 back again.
Well, I mean, you know, you'll get it sorted for the end of the month.
Yeah. No, it's just that this lap. You're teasing me.
No,
This
no, it's
laptop.
people that do things tend to take time. Me and Pedro have a running bet right now about something taking a long time. It's not about you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nope.
Good. Yeah, the laptop will only drive the 1 monitor, so so I didn't bother setting up the other 2 until I get my other system in here, and I'm gonna do it.
That would
still have to
drive
do-
me crazy. Then again, I'm not saying
Yeah.
this is a good thing. Like unfinished projects. This is why at like 3:30 in the
It's
morning I was
hard.
installing
Yeah.
a fan. You know, and it's like, oh no, brain's like, you know, we're getting up to do that, right? It's like,
No, yeah.
yeah, I guess we
understand.
are. All right.
I would have had it all done this week, but school and work got in the way.
I don't.
Yeah, that's
mind
one of the
doing
things I
it.
never really realized, just how much time a proper 9-to-5 job takes.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never had a job that short. I honestly, outside of like a summer job, like a job that, oh, it's over at a certain time.
Mhm.
What magic is this? I can just leave?
I tried to get all the jobs in Portugal, and no one was having any of it. And I come here in like 3 weeks. Oh yeah, by the way, interview. It's like the interview comes to an end. It's like I want to give you the job. Okay, I want the job. Give me the job.
Yeah, I guess there's something to be said to have like structured hours.
There is. It took some getting used to, but yeah, now I go to sleep at like midnight 30, and I fall asleep at around 2 because I can't fall asleep earlier than that. Then I'm up at 7. It's like, okay.
Always did contract work. Even when I wasn't doing that, deployed, you show up and you leave when you're done. When's that? When you're done. How many days? I don't know. You can stay up too, though, right? Yeah. No Bulmer Peak either. That was always that would have been nice. And get ripped in a data center. What is love? See, Chatbot has no clue what love is.
What a Islam is.
Now I have the Mario Maker, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, right. That one.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I hear when I think of that song now.
That was a good. That was a very good use of Mario.
Oh man, the epic on the original video, the debate on whether or not he was using an emulator or doing it
Because
with the-
people care about that.
on the scale of like the internet, man. That's tame.
Okay, you know what? For like world records and whatnot, sure, you do it on the original system. You have the original hardware. That matters. For what is a glorified music video, what does it matter?
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's gotta be done right. So, right, I think that's everything. Pedro, you're gonna get the 8-core?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on
Yeah.
if the 3800X is below 400 pounds. I might get that. But
Which
it
one's the
probably won't
3800?
be.
I've not paid a lot of
The
attention.
38 and the 3700X are the 8-core ones.
Okay.
Yeah. And the 3900X is the 12-core.
Why don't you live that 12-core lifestyle, bro?
Because that would probably require a new motherboard. Because I had a look at the heatsink that's on the VRMs on this motherboard, and I'm going, nope.
Come on, man.
I'd probably need to get like a 140 millimeter fan, just pointed at the VRMs, just.
I have an adapter that does that came with the motherboard.
Yeah, I have one of those like plastic things that you mount inside the case, and it has a little hook that you bolt a fan to.
You know, I have one of those too because it was like a 4 series NVIDIA card. The fan just went tits up on me, and it's like, fine. I just put that in the PCI slot and just blew air into it, and it worked. That was a fun morning. I walked into that room. This is years and years and years ago. That smell of a video card baking overnight.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Ooh, worm silicon. I wonder where this is coming.
8 cores. How much are those chips going to be? They're going to like, what, 240?
The 3700X is going to be the MSRP was 330.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
All right.
and the MSRP for the 3800X was 399, and the 3900X was 499.
$4.99. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I'm kind of hoping that the 3800X turns out at less than 400 pounds. It probably won't be, but if it does, that's the one I'm getting. Otherwise, 3700X does seem very, very good indeed.
Well, they're not going to give any information on the, what is it, the 12 core, no, 16 core,
The 16-core one, yeah.
until they do the TR Threadripper 3 announcement. Which I might pay a little attention to.
Yeah. And yes, I do have stupid mount for cooling the RAM because this stupid RAM kit came with one of those stupid fans.
I remember when we first bought it, he was like, "This is so cool, man. It's got a fan on it, and I'm going to hook it up."
Are you
God.
sure cool was the word I used?
No, I think you mind-blowingly awesome. That was the word. I was trying to downplay
I'm pretty
it
sure
for
it
you.
was stupid.
Nah. It was your
But it's like,
favorite
I
thing
paid
in the world.
180 pounds for this stupid fan. I'm going to put it in there. And then I realized, wait a second, this is loud. Let's take that out.
You would really have to go out of your way to buy RAM now without an integrated heat spreader on it. That used to be a thing,
Yeah.
though, because I remember like going to like PC Toys and buying the copper ones that slid over.
Yeah.
But a fan active cooling on RAM is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since if you have like a tower heatsink on your CPU, chances are it's already pulling air away from the RAM, so it's already cooling the RAM.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really need a fan blowing directly on it.
Well, the trick is to have quad channel memory, but only put 32 gigs in it, so you have a RAM space off each side of the CPU, and you shove a 140 millimeter fan below the RAM.
Oh.
Works really good.
Oh, hello, Big Daddy Linux. Hello, Rocco. I'm going to be seeing you on Saturday.
Water cooled
Yay.
RAM.
They make water coolers for memory, dude.
But why
Yeah.
though?
Man, you don't even get a Y out of me, and it's like, of course I do. It probably got RGB on it. Yep, there it is.
RGBs, yeah. We've seen like the RAM sticks with the RGBs all over the top. It's like, are you sure you want to make your memory hotter?
Yeah.
I was genuinely, I was a little sad that Noctua bent the knee, man. And like, we're gonna make non-poo brown fans. I'm like, oh, really? We gotta be like that, man.
They already had
Yeah.
the
The gray and black.
gray.
Yeah. That's what I just bought one for my build.
Oh, and they have these plastic highlights that you can put on, just like
Yeah,
yellow,
the yellow
red,
and the red.
blue.
Yeah, I
Oh,
saw
they got that. The announcement at Computex, they're going to solid, just regular black fans.
That's good. That's very good.
Well, no, it's going to be horrible. Then how will people know that you know more about cooling than they do?
Yeah, the only time you need fans is when you have memory riser cards, which I have plenty of, but they're annoying and loud. Like I was telling
The only
Pedro
time you
last
need
week.
fans. Okay, tell me more about this convection-based cooling system you have.
Well, no, it's in one of my big Dell workstations, one of my main render farm.
Uh-huh.
I've got 256 gigs of RAM on memory riser cards.
So you're talking
And-
about cooling RAM.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
you didn't
the
throw
RAM
that. You didn't throw that in at the beginning.
Oh. Ben.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I didn't want anyone listening going, What are you talking
I
about?
thought
You
I
don't
said-
need.
I-
No, you didn't.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
I'm trying to
Hey,
help you
Big
out,
Daddy
man.
Linux.
Yeah.
You're a bit late there. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, just tap that rewind button, fam.
Yeah. Well, he comes after work. He watches it later after work.
No.
But yeah, so the memory riser cards. I'm sorry. I guess I didn't finish that statement.
The riser cards most definitely you want to keep cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty insane, but they're noisy because they put these little cheesy little fans on there, little noisy ones. So that's why I can't.
When you
can't-
fans
you know?
are noisy.
Yeah. That's why I can't use that system for LGC because it's too loud as a broadcast rig.
The earplugs.
No. Even putting this computer, you can hear it outside when I turn it on. You can hear it outside the room. It's so
Oh, so it's not a computer, it's a jet engine.
Earplugs, yeah.
Gotcha.
jet engine, yeah. But it is amazing. It is my 4-processor Xeon render farm. So
It's the it's like dealing with any 1U or 2U, man. You know that lovely jet engine sound of that.
yeah,
Because
and
there's,
my
Okay.
Blade servers.
yeah,
Blade servers are horrible.
they know that they're going to be stacked in a rack, so everything in there
Yeah.
is designed to run 100%
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
full tilt.
Full tilt.
This is one of the like reminders that I have, because guess what? If you're in the market looking for a 10G SPF Plus switch, guess where you can find a lot of those for cheap? In old enterprise hardware, because 10 gigs old hat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
you know, 40 gigs and 100 gig plus. But all of those have the little dustbuster fans in it. And you're like, hey, man, I can get this for
They're horrible.
$100. You know, and it's like, no, I don't think we could do a show with that.
No. And that's the problem with the high-end workstations. It's always an issue because they don't care about the noise because it's in a room somewhere doing its job. You know?
I wouldn't say workstation. I would say servers.
Yeah,
Workstations.
servers.
You can build a relatively high-end silent
Yeah, you
workstation.
can.
high.
Unless you use Dell riser cards, memory risers.
Yeah, those like the tower coolers, those
Yeah.
are great. They do better than most AIO water blocks, and they're quiet. There's no pump noise. There's fin noise if you do a push pull, but yeah,
You can get rid of that if you use the right adapters.
yeah.
You can silently cool 180 watt TDP part. Actually, you can silently cool 240 watt TDP. AIOs are like neat. I like the idea of them, but I understand it too because they're easier to put in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about memory clearance or
You-
anything like that.
Bolt them in. There,
Yeah.
done.
Done. And as long as it doesn't leak or the pump doesn't fail or it doesn't corrode or
Which happens.
yeah.
The leaking, not so much. Actually, I haven't heard about any like of the at least the mainstream AIOs. those don't usually leak. But yeah, pump failures, especially the cheaper models,
Yeah.
tons.
Yeah, Arthurian, you keep saying that, which is true. It's basic thermodynamics, but they will reach a point to where you can't cool them off anymore. Once you have the full thermal load inside of the cooling loop, you're stuck with it. But you got to bring air coolers also cool off a lot quicker.
Yep.
Yeah.
The moment you're done using
Yeah.
the CPU for that render, you hear maybe a second or two of like, woo, and it's gone.
This is a true thing. But even at full tilt, this thing is, I'm not going to say silent, but you wouldn't pick it up on a microphone. So, that's 1, 2, 3. That's 540 millimeter fans going full tilt.
Yep. Even with the 1080, with all 3 fans.
Oh,
spinning
hell
at,
no.
like,
An NVIDIA video
50%.
cards, that's a different story, son.
Oh, yeah.
If I cut the fans on this 2060, oh, you can hear it outside. It is. Yeah. It's
And this,
terrifying.
these are the really thin fans, and there's 3 of them on the 1080. So, yeah.
That's brutal.
When those kick in, you hear them, even with the headphones.
Dude. Yeah, I've done that out of curiosity. It was like, let's see, fan control. Nope.
Oh, that's what it sounds like. Okay.
Yeah. Like, let's never do that again. It's a good thing to do every now and then to blow the dust off of your, heatsink. No, I mean, just wind it up. Clean it off. All right, beautiful people, it's almost 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta get out of here. Jill, are you going to build that awesome computer?
Yes, I am.
Sweet.
Yeah, I have some time now.
What color are you going to paint it?
I'm not going to paint it. I'm going to keep its pretty pink self. All pink.
All
I
right.
even got a pink light I bought for it.
What is that, just in case?
Because it matches, it'll match my chair. So,
Right on.
and I've never had something that's so-called girly. So, because all my computers,
Wait a minute. Are you trying to imply the color pink's girly?
No.
Jill, that's old-fashioned.
It's
Come on.
2019.
Oh, no. Pink's always been one of my favorite colors, and yeah.
I can't
It's
stand
just,
it.
I actually have purposely most of my life stayed away from pink because that was always the color that was girly, right? But I've always liked it. But I was, always kind of the tomboy.
You're just being contrarian, and you're like, oh, I like it, but I'm not gonna let the people know.
Yeah.
That's a level of contrarianism I aspire to.
It was like, yeah, I know about that.
It's like, I like that, but I'm not going to use it because it's popular.
This is the modern day thing. You're like, hey man, do you like thing X? Hang on 1 minute. Let me go check the internet. Is it cool to like that? Okay, yeah, it's cool to like that. The internet likes it, so I like it. This is unfortunate, and a very unfortunate thing these days. I don't know, like color, I would totes fucking have a pink case.
Yeah,
a picture?
I could see you enjoing it, Ben.
See, this,
Yeah, I
is,
think
this is where your argument immediately falls apart. I wouldn't enjoy something because it was a color.
It's something that's
You're not-
there, Jill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, do you derive joy from this inanimate object? I was like, you know what? For like 10, 15 minutes when I first get it, this is a distinct possibility. But after that, I'm like, yeah, it's a thing. Go with it.
Yeah.
Do your job.
Oh.
I like that. I'm not saying that as a positive. That's just its thing.
Yeah. I'm definitely the artist. I look at
Dude,
things differently.
Let's break out some glitter on it. And cover-
Bling bling.
Yeah, we can get some spray glue. Just poof, glitter.
Yeah.
We can rub Steve on it.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I don't like stones and the glittery stuff.
Ooh. Shots fired.
No, I don't. I'm sorry, Ben. No. I'm at like diamonds, emeralds. I'm not into that kind of thing.
Don't worry, Joe. You didn't hurt my feeling.
You're one feeling.
Just the one.
It's kind of hard to upset someone whose natural state of rest is mildly irritated.
Yeah.
I know what enjoying is. Enjoying is helping other people.
Aw.
I'm just saying, man. Pedro, what are you eating tonight before we get out of here? We always have to ask this.
Meatballs
Just meatballs?
with some spaghetti, like spaghetti carbonara with meatballs.
What meatballs?
Yummy.
All right. I guess that's doable. Huh. All right. Probably tomorrow, if I get some time, I am going to have up a video of making an LGC with DaVinci Resolve and Linux. So, like,
Oh, cool.
exactly 3 people on the internet will go, "Oh, that's neat." But
Those videos always get a lot
Awesome.
of comments of people like, "I followed
Yeah.
this and it doesn't work."
well, here's the thing: you're injecting things. They never say, "I followed this." They're like, "I did something completely different and didn't end up with the same result."
No. If you go look at your last video on DaVinci, there's one that says, "I followed this video and I have no sound."
Yeah, you see, here's the problem. See, I've been doing this too long. When you willingly neglect to say, he was like, "I followed this," you didn't say on what, did you? Did you? No, you didn't. I know if I asked that question. I was like, "Well, I was using Manjaro," and it's like, that's not how Linux works. You know, I had to field a question the other day. Someone was like, "I bought one of those video encoders that we use. We have 5 of them, I think. The HDMI encoders." And like, "I plugged it in. It looks like butt." And I'm like, "Yeah, you plugged in the USB 2.0 port, didn't you?" Silence. Yeah.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm here to help. I am. I help in my own way, but I'm doing it hopefully to get more people to be like, "Hey, man, I'll do a better job." Good. I want you to.
Yes. Very good.
Speaking of jobs, I'm going to go do mine, and we're going to make a thing. Thursday, something's going to happen. Friday, we'll be doing a Jackbox.
Jackbox! Yay!
That'll be back. So everyone's welcome to join in. We are limited to... We'll have like 5 open spots if you want to play along doing that, because we get to do it with Discord and we got audio and all that. But if you want to play at home with like 6-second delay, as many as we can get in, and you don't need to buy the game like Scott was getting ready to. And
Yeah.
I thought better. See,
You did feed that in.
dude, I burnt all of my that was my will and self-control for 20. That was my good deed for 2019. Even though maybe I was the one who suggested that he did have to buy all of them in order to play,
Yeah.
but I didn't let him.
Aw.
I can't remember who it was, but it's like the whole list is like 1 through 5.
Yeah, it's like, better pick him up, man. And it's like, no.
Yay, Arthur, please join us.
I might. I don't know, man. I don't know, Arthur. And I thought you like turn into like a person who's asleep after 9 p.m.
Aw.
I
Well,
wish
it
I
is the
could go to bed
weekend.
that early.
It is the weekend for him, so he can do that.
Yeah.
And Big Daddy, you're also welcome, of course, to join in. You can play in the audience in the game. So that's what's cool about the Jackbox games. They're online games, and they're a lot of fun.
What's
BDLL?
BDLL? Is that like a sex club?
No. Big Daddy Linux. That's his show on Saturday, and I'm gonna go
Okay,
in on
right.
on the European show.
What's the second L for?
Big Daddy Linux. Daddy
L?
Linux.
Yeah, there's 2 L's.
Linux L?
Big Daddy Linux Live.
There
Oh.
we go.
Okay, see, makes sense.
Sorry. I had it escaped me. No, I know that, Rocco.
I don't know. You can talk to Pedro. I work on Saturdays. I'm not even home until 3 o'clock my time.
Yeah.
Depending on what time you're doing it,
Well-
yeah, sure.
Well, it's at he once a month he does the European edition, which is at noon. So
Oh, yeah.
at noon on Saturday.
Eastern,
Oh,
Pacific.
sorry, Pacific. So
Eight
for you
hours.
it'd be
8 p.m.
8 p.m. for you, and then they do the normally it's on when we're doing our shows, but they have the weekly normal one is on starts at 5 p.m. Pacific. So, and then Big Daddy. So 5:30 they do a shows in before the main show, so they're really busy at that time. But of course,
Okay.
that's why he invited us to come to the European one.
All right.
Could be a thing. I'll have to check my Saturday. Because look, Saturday nights after dinner, those are
I
completely
know.
booked off.
Yeah,
No.
Saturdays are the big day.
Yeah, I
But
basically
yeah,
will not
8
be...
p.m.
8 p.m.? You? I don't know.
Yeah.
8 p.m. for me, that's 3 p.m. for you.
Yeah, I'm working in the house. You can get stuffed, man. I got to show to prep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful people, thanks for showing up. Keep being awesome. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. I love you.